Google just mass acquired its way into the cloud security throne room, $32 billion, all cash, for a company that didn't even exist 5 years ago. Here's exactly what this means for your cloud strategy, your security budget, and the competitive landscape you're operating in right now. On March 11, 2026, Google officially closed its acquisition of Wiz, the Israeli cloud security startup. This is the largest acquisition in Google's entire history, bigger than the combined total of Alphabet's 8 previous largest deals. To put that in perspective, Google paid Motorola $12.5 billion back in 2011. This single deal is nearly 3 times that size. So what is Wiz? Think of it as a universal security scanner for the cloud. If your company runs workloads on AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or Oracle, Wiz connects to all of them and gives you a single view of every vulnerability, misconfiguration, and threat across your entire environment. No agents to install, no complex deployment, it just plugs in and shows you where your risks are. That cloud-agnostic approach is exactly why nearly half the Fortune 100 were already Wiz customers before the deal closed. Here's the backstory that matters. Google first approached Wiz in mid-2024 with a $23 billion offer. Wiz said no. CEO Asaf Rappaport believed the company could grow far beyond that valuation, and he was right. By early 2025, Wiz had roughly $700 million in annual recurring revenue, growing at over 100% year-over-year. By the time the deal closed, Wiz had crossed the $1 billion ARR mark. Google came back in March 2025 with $32 billion, plus a $3.2 billion breakup fee if regulators killed the deal. That breakup fee alone tells you how committed Google was. The deal cleared U.S. Department of Justice antitrust review in November 2025 and European Union approval in February 2026. Now why should you care? Because this reshapes the cloud security market in 3 concrete ways. First, if you're an enterprise running multi-cloud, you now have a security vendor backed by one of the largest infrastructure companies on Earth, but still committed to protecting your AWS and Azure workloads. Google has publicly stated Wiz will maintain its own brand and continue operating across all major cloud platforms. That's a meaningful promise. A unified security platform that spans every cloud you use, with Google Scale AI and Mandiant threat intelligence behind it, changes the calculus on how you think about security tooling consolidation. Second, if you're evaluating Google Cloud as a platform, this acquisition instantly makes Google a far more credible player in enterprise security. Before Wiz, Google had Chronicle, Mandiant, and BeyondCorp. Solid tools but largely reactive or complex to deploy. Wiz brings simplicity, real-time visibility, and a developer-friendly interface. Combined with Google's Gemini AI models, the roadmap points toward autonomous security operations. AI agents that detect, investigate, and help remediate threats across your entire stack. For companies building AI-powered applications, having security baked into the platform from code through runtime is not optional anymore, especially as vibe coding and automated development pipelines introduce new classes of vulnerabilities. Third, if you're a cybersecurity startup or investor, this deal resets valuation expectations for the entire sector. Google paid roughly 32 times Wiz's projected 2025 revenue. Index Ventures called it the deal of the decade. With IPO markets still sluggish, this signals that strategic acquisitions may be the preferred exit path for high-growth security companies. Expect AWS and Microsoft to accelerate their own acquisitions in response. The cloud security market is consolidating around a few dominant players, fast. But let's talk about what could go wrong, because the risks are real. The biggest question is vendor neutrality. Google says Wiz will remain multi-cloud and independent, but Wiz is now owned by Google. If enterprise buyers on AWS or Azure start perceiving Wiz as Google first, they will look for alternatives. Senior executives in the cybersecurity industry already expect Amazon and Microsoft to actively support Wiz competitors. That dynamic could fragment the market rather than consolidate it. Integration risk is another factor. Google has a mixed track record with large acquisitions. Maintaining Wiz's speed, culture, and innovation inside a company of Google's size is a genuine challenge. Several Israeli tech publications have noted that the company's future operating model will likely resemble LinkedIn inside Microsoft, semi-independent but inevitably shaped by its parent. There's also the competitive response to consider. AWS and Azure dominate cloud market share. They're not going to stand still. Microsoft already has Defender for Cloud. Amazon has GuardDuty and a growing security portfolio. Both have the resources to build or buy their way into parity. The window of advantage Google gains from this deal is real, but not permanent. And finally, the $32 billion price tag itself. Alphabet stock dropped nearly 3% when the deal was first announced. At 32 times projected revenue, Google needs Wiz to sustain hypergrowth for years to justify the investment. If cloud security spending slows or integration stumbles, this could become a very expensive lesson. So what should you actually do about this in the next 30 days? 1. Audit your current cloud security posture. If you're running multi-cloud, map out which tools cover which environments and where gaps exist. The Google Wiz combination is going to push competitors to improve their offerings too, so this is a good time to benchmark. 2. If you're already a Wiz customer, start a conversation with your account team about the integration roadmap. Ask specifically about how Google Cloud AI and Mandiant Threat Intelligence will be layered into the platform you're using today, and what that means for pricing. 3. If you're evaluating cloud providers, add security-native capabilities to your scoring criteria. This deal signals that cloud selection and security selection are converging into a single decision. Ask each provider what their unified security platform story looks like. 4. If you're building AI applications in the cloud, review your AI workload security. Wiz has been expanding its capabilities to protect generative AI environments, from code and training data to runtime inference. Make sure your current tooling covers those layers. 5. Watch the competitive response. Microsoft and Amazon will make moves. Track announcements over the next 2 quarters. A more competitive market means better options and better pricing for buyers. Here's the bottom line. Google just spent $32 billion to make cloud security the core of its competitive strategy, and that decision will ripple through every enterprise cloud buying decision for years to come. If you want to stay ahead of how AI is reshaping business infrastructure, subscribe to AI Blueprint. We break down the moves that matter so you don't have to chase headlines.